Good evening, everyone. This is Santero Balogum coming with another video. I wanted to do a video tonight to talk about Hoodoo Money Drawing Powder. Let's get started. I'll show you how to make it. So I am starting out with some Ozain the Conqueror root, and I want to make sure that I start there because it's the chunkiest thing that I have in the ingredients. And so I want to pick the right piece that'll be enough for the ingredients, enough for the mixture. But anyone that knows anything about the Ozain Conqueror root, it is a very tough, durable root. And so I'm putting it in my mortar and pestle, and I just want to ensure that I give it a good pounding, so to speak, to get it to a place where I can grind it up and add it to the rest of everything that I will be mixing for this hoodoo powder. You know, hoodoo is something that is a staple for the southern communities, and many people have asked, I even had someone ask this week in email, where am I from? And so I have roots in Louisiana, and so in Louisiana, in the New Orleans area, hoodoo is very prevalent. And so is the use of powders and mixtures. And so I'm grinding down the Ozain the Conqueror root and trying to get it as fine as possible. At this point, I don't have to get it as powdery because I'm going to be adding in other ingredients, and I'm going to be making more powders in the ingredients. And so I will be giving it more of a grind, more of a pounding, so to speak. So if you are working with Ozain Conqueror root, don't feel if you're working with it in the sense of making a powder. I suggest that you always use it as the first thing that you're mixing up. See, so there's some grounded pieces, and it's coming to that powder state, but it doesn't have to be perfectly in a powdered form because you're going to be mixing other things. So I'm looking at it, and I'm going to pour this in the bowl right now so that I can start adding other ingredients and then incorporate the Ozain the Conqueror root back into the mixture for the powder substance. And so right now I'm going to add some myrrh. You hear frankincense and myrrh. I'm using myrrh because myrrh is royalty. Myrrh is in the three kings that came to give the Christ child the gift when Jesus was born. They say they gave gifts of frankincense and myrrh. So it is something that is associated with royalty. And since we're making a magical hoodoo money drawing powder, I'm incorporating that also. And you can see that didn't take too much work. It grounded up pretty nicely right away. And so I'm incorporating that with the Ozain the Conqueror root, and then I can go to the next ingredient so that I'm able to just keep adding layers. And that's what I want you to think about. I'm adding layers on top of layers, and then I'll incorporate more. Right now I'm going to open up this bag and incorporate some allspice. Allspice is used for money drawing. Allspice represents money, and then not only does it have the essence and the energy for money, it has a wonderful scent when you incorporate it with anything in oils or in powders. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm just going to grind up these they're like little berries, hard dried berries, or if you think about coffee beans, they kind of have the consistency of coffee beans, but they're easier to grind up than the Ozain the Conqueror root. And you have to be careful. As you see, one just popped out. So, as you're doing the grinding, you can't grind and pound them as hard as you can the Ozain the Conqueror root because they have consistency where they want to jump. And so I'm just grounding this right now, trying to get it to a more powdered state so that I can incorporate it and put it in the bowl, but at the same time I can just ensure that I have it where I need it to be for my mixture. And also I want you to think about, as I'm adding each ingredient, I'm thinking about the intent. I'm thinking about what it is that I want to have this do for me. What kind of strength I want this powder to have. How I want it to draw. I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about what it is that's needed for the intent that I have for the money drawing. Now I'm adding some bay leaves. You know, bay leaves also represent money. People even put bay leaves, if you have a business, they put bay leaves in their cash register. You can put bay leaves in your wallet, and it acts as a catalyst for drawing money and keeping your money. And so I'm just going to grind that as best I can, because bay leaves, since they were actually leaves that's dry, it is a little harder to get them ground. But having the mortar and pestle and just basically moving it against the mortar and pestle so that I can get it to the consistency. And what I've done is put the pestle down, and in the mortar I'm just taking my hands and I'm just tearing everything up, making it into as small as pieces I can so that it will incorporate better. And I've added the roots back into it, the allspice, because since they are more firmer, and putting them on top of the bay leaves, it helps me so that I'm able to get them ground in a better state, get them to where I need them to be to release themselves from the leaf form and get them to a powdered form. If anything pops out since you're grinding and you're trying to get it, just put it back in and just keep going. And what you'll find during these times, since you have the John the Conqueror root, and you have the allspice, and you have the myrrh, now the bay leaves, the scent is amazing. If you could just smell what I'm smelling, the scent is just filling this portion of where I am on this working altar. And it helps add to the whole idea of what I'm doing. It helps me to visualize, it helps me to center in on exactly what it is that my intention is, because now not only am I thinking about it in my mind, but the smell of it, the aroma is giving me what I need to take it that step further. See, everything is starting to incorporate quite nicely. So I'm just going to add a little bit more and grind it and let the whole parts of the John the Conqueror root that haven't ground up yet to help me in getting the bay leaves to where I need them to be. And as you see, I'm, as we would say, put your elbow into it. When you're making a magical powder, when you're cooking, when you're doing anything magically, spiritually, and you're adding your essence to it, that's the energy. You don't always have to touch things for your energy to be in it, because it's your magical mortar and pestle. Because you're pounding it and you're grinding it. You're putting your energy in it, your ache, you're infusing it with your energy. And as you can see, it's getting much, much, much more grounder, and it's exactly where I needed to be at this state. And so now I'm working it, I'm touching it, and as I'm touching the ingredients, I'm working it in my fingertips. I'm thinking about why I'm making this magical powder, what I needed to do for me, what I needed to do for my clients, and I'm putting my energy in it by touching on it. And don't be afraid to just ground it up. Let the mortar and pestle, it's a tool. Let it aid you. Don't overexert yourself when you're doing this, because when you're working with resins, when you're working with dry herbs, when you're working with roots. It can be something that requires time, but don't allow it to wear you out, because as a result, your implement, your tool is supposed to be helping you so that you can get it where you need it to be. See? More powdered form, just where I need. So I'm going to put that back in the bowl since I have that where I need it to be, and now I can start adding more ingredients. And here I'm going to add in 5-finger grass. 5-finger grass is a grass that can be used for money and prosperity. And since it is a grass, it's almost to a powdered state, but it's not quite there. So I'm incorporating, and I'm going to work that and add it to the layers, just like making a cake. You have your flour, you have your baking soda, your baking powder, and you add all of these ingredients to have an outcome. And that's what I'm doing. And so I'm adding the 5-finger grass, and I'm making it so that it's more in a powdered form. And since all of the other ingredients were already in the mortar, it's already soaking up some of that energy, some of that aroma into the 5-finger grass, and making it easier for what I'm doing. See? Now pour that in the bowl as well. Now I'm just going to mix this up. I'm touching it. I'm thinking about my intention. I'm pouring it back in so that I can add the next ingredients for what it is this magical money drawing powder will do for me and do for my clients. Here I'm going to add some already dried ginger. We need some spice to spice this powder up so that it can be at the spicy level to work, the spicy level to have the energy infused in it to send it out for its purpose. Mixing it up, thinking about what it is. So if you are making a magical drawing money powder for yourself, think about the bills that you have. Think about your children's tuition. Think about their school clothes. Think about, having more food on the table. And here, this is something I want to help people with. This is a floor sweep. You go to the Botanicas and they have ingredients to make things so that you can make a floor sweep. Well, what I've done is whenever you buy any ingredient from the Botanica, you want to incorporate your own things to it. You never know who's touched it. You never know what state they were in when they prepared it. You can add coarse sea salt to it to diffuse any negative vibrations, but at the same time, it makes it your own. And to make it more bulky, I am adding steel cut oats. Steel cut oats is a natural ingredient, and since magical practitioners practice earth magic, and this is something that grows from the earth, I'm adding it so that it will bulk up, but the energy that the steel cut oats have are going to add nicely to this powder. And since they are already closely in a powdered form, it's going to do nicely for what it is that I need. See? Quite nice. Just what I needed to do. It blended well. Still thinking about money. It's green. Still thinking about that I can use this to sprinkle and put it in an envelope where my bills are, in a cash register, in my pocket, in a mojo bag, in a candle. so that the effects of it will draw money to me. And have you ever heard the statement, in order to get money, you have to use money? I'm going to use a dollar bill now, and I'm going to cut this dollar bill up so that the essence of money is in my powder. The actual essence of money is there infused in this powder, helping to give this powder life with money. Some of you may think that because I used a dollar, maybe it'll be more effective with the $5 bill, a $10 bill, a $20 bill, a $50 bill, or maybe even a $100 bill. I say that you could think that way if you like, and if you want to use, and cut up a $5, $10, 20, 50, and 100, do that. I wouldn't do that though. A $1 bill is money. So the essence of money is in the powder. Save that 10, that 20, that 50, and that $100 bill. Since you're needing money, since you're working to draw money, use that $1 bill. And if you don't have a $1 bill, use change. Use pennies, use quarters if you have that, and it'll be just as effective. But this $1 bill, since we're talking about money, and money is notoriously green, we're going to add this dollar bill to it. And so it's just mixing quite nicely with the powder that already has taken a green form. And I'm just going to cut up the rest of it so that it will blend quite nicely. You don't have to think about it being so small, because I want the chunkiness to be there so that it's seen. And I'll keep mixing it, keep adding my energy, my intent. And all while I'm mixing it, I'm thinking about it. Still thinking about why I need this to work for me. And see, you can see the pieces of the dollar cut up. But that's energy, live energy of money, making this money drawing powder even more effective. Now I'm adding magnetic sand. And I want you to think the magnetic sand being added to it, what this does, it infuses the energy to draw. That's what the magnetic sand. The dollar bill gave it the life of money. The magnetic sand is giving it the essence of drawing power. And that's what we need. We're going to use this magical drawing powder, this hoodoo powder, to draw money to us. Money for business, money for bills, money for groceries, money to help us in our daily lives. See? Everything incorporated quite nicely. Now what I'm doing, infusing it with my intention, praying. I'm praying to Osain, I'm praying to God, I'm praying to the divine, saying, based on need, not greed, based on the desire to have continuous flow of money in my life. Please aid me. Please help me so that I'll have what I need for groceries. I'll have what I need for my bills. I'll have what I need to buy more candles, and for my clients and for their needs. And so I touch it because I have to have my hands, the magical practitioner's hands. And since I'm an Osainista, the Osainista's hands infused in it, touching it. Now I'm blowing into it that my essence, I'm giving it my spirit, is placed in there. And since I have my working candle, which is green, with my mojo bag for money tied to it, I'm going to infuse my candle. And so I'm going to take my new powder and I'm going to put it in this mason jar, and then I'm going to sit it on my altar. and let it infuse before I use it any further. And to give you a helpful hint, whenever you're making anything like this, you see I have on my working altar a plastic altar cloth. And I chose that because I'm working with the green powder. It's stained. Just as you see my fingers, my hands are stained with the green color. So that way, anything that has fallen out, fallen over, if you put any other cloth, it may stain it. If you don't mind, that's fine. But see how that's stained? I'm picking everything up, but then I can pick this plastic up, and then I can get the rest of it off. It'll come off quite nicely. Money drawing powder. Hoodoo, a hoodoo staple from Louisiana. God bless you. Ache.